Welcome back to an amazing podcast today. Unless you've been hiding underneath a rock, you know who she is. We have Maddie DeCoste here in the house. We went on a super deep emotional podcast. We talked all about high ticket sales and a lot of overhype that's going on right now. We talked about like women learning how to be setters and learning how to actually build your way to be good in sales, the fundamentals, her background, and what really helps you become great in terms of really doing the internal work and working on you. So you don't want to miss this. Tune in and make sure you leave a comment below as to what was your favorite part. We'll see you inside. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Closing Deals in Heels. This is your weekly big sister advice on mastering influence, embracing your femininity, and handling any challenge that life throws your way. Maddie, I first want to honor the woman that you are before we start. I love your ability to be genuine and authentic. I think that's missing in the sales world. I love that you are here coming together in collaboration versus competition.
Yeah.
And I want to get your insight on that because I think that's for so many of us women, it's really hard for us to see another woman and be like, hey, like, let's do something fun together versus seeing them as competition or seeing them as a threat.
Of course.
What is your insight on that? Like, have you always been able to like get along with other women? Has it been hard for you in the past? I just want to get your insight.
I think it's like you have to like look at it in like multiple different perspectives. Like with you, with Lo, and you look at other creators in the space like Alexis, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of us have so many diverse backgrounds, and most importantly, we all have so many different strengths that we bring to the table. And the way that I look at it is like instead of like seeing each other as competition, because I mean, if you have that abundance mindset, it doesn't really matter. Everything will come towards you. And so instead of like fighting battles, lift each other up because you have strengths that I don't have and I have strengths that you don't have. And so collaboration is like way better. And you can start connecting with awesome people. Like if I felt you or saw you as like straight competition, we wouldn't be here today and making the connection. Same thing with Lo. So to answer your question, like I feel like my growing up, I never really had like a really easy time connecting with women because a lot of them saw as competition in different avenues, whether it's school, whether it's finding partners. And so as
Can you give me an example? Like
so
something that stands out from your childhood.
Yeah. So like when I was in high school, I went to a small school. There was 60 people in my class. I had, really, really small. And
where did you go to school?
Middle of nowhere, like New Hampshire, like middle of nowhere, 6,000 people in my town.
Oh my God.
And I moved from Cape Cod. So like I was moving from a school with like 3,000 people to like a school with 300. And so when I came in, it was a lot of jealousy. Like I was getting a lot of attention and the females did not like that. So it was a lot of like not collaborative energy, but more so like, hey, you're new, you're getting attention. I don't like this.
Yeah, you're a threat.
And try to push me away. So I see that as like a way of like in sales, just in everyday life, just connect with people, like see who they are because likelihood they have strengths that you don't have. You can learn a little bit of something, especially if you want to level up and like start connecting. So yeah.
We were talking last week a little bit about bringing integrity back into a sales space.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but I've been through so many different training programs where I've learned like, hey, if you manipulate someone this way, or if you say, you know, oh, well, we're doing a sale, or let me see if my manager can do that for you. And it's a complete lie.
Yeah.
Like it's not the truth, but you're learning some of these skills in order for you to close. And for myself, it felt very disingenuous. I felt like, oh, I couldn't even do it. I didn't even want to be in sales anymore because it felt so wrong in me. What was your experience? Because I know you feel the same way in terms of integrity in sales. What has been your experience to where you are fighting for this so hard? Something had to happen, you know?
Yeah. So when I first got into sales, I remember I was talking with somebody who like helped develop out like a lot of biz op creators in the space. He happened to live in the same town as me. And I had a conversation. He's like, hey, you're really good at communication. Get into sales. My first reaction was like, sales?
Yeah.
What? No. No. And no. So when I first thought of sales, and this is like when you ask like anybody, like, what are your thoughts on a sales rep? A lot of times it's like they're untrustworthy, they're sleazy, they're scummy.
Used car salesperson.
Car salesperson, exactly. And so when I first started learning, I had that perception. And then all it took was me to have a mentor to be able to pull me in and be like, hey, you know what? Care about this person more than they might care about themselves.
Ooh.
And because also, if you're selling B2B, this goes for just any scenario, but I'm going to use B2B for example. Most of these men that are high-level businessmen don't have people that will like fully listen to their problems because they see them as leaders. And so when I had that like perception like swapped, where this is your moment, your time to listen to them, to help them, because they don't have people that typically listen to them, and you got to fight for them. That was where my whole perception of sales changed and integrity changed, because it's not about selling the person anymore at like any cost. It's ends up at the end of the day, you're selling the person and they're selling themselves that they need your help, and you happen to have a program that aligns. If the person is, let's say, not ready yet, or there's something that's going on, or I have a program that's not going to be a good fit for them, I'm not going to pitch them. And so my integrity is like, I just don't like dishonest people that are just fighting for money, because at the end of the day, these are other people on the other line.
Yeah.
And that's why sales reps aren't liked. So I want to like really be a part of that, where we're shifting the energy, we're shifting the space, where sales reps can be trusted, where we can be seen as like somebody to go to actually talk through our problems. But most importantly, when we're selling them a program, they can trust us, and we have a lot less resistance on sales calls, because I don't know about you, but I experience that all the time, especially with marketing companies for the offer that I'm selling for. So that's like my whole thing with integrity. Like, it's huge, like huge.
I want to break that down because you said so many good little nuggets in there. The first thing is about people hate salespeople. Like, that's just what it is. And thinking back to where sales even came from, you know, you're looking at late 1800s, even like carpetbagger salespeople. Women were never in sales during this time.
Yep.
And what did you do? You went door to door and you were like, hey, this is my product. And you shared all about the product, because there's no internet or anything back then. And then you went into pitching, right? Then we went to broiler room sales. We went into, you know, more consultative sales processes. And through a period of time, people have experienced salespeople learning to be pressuring and manipulative in order for somebody to get the deal across the line. So I feel like there's a lot of sales trauma
that's generational
that has happened, and generational, that is passed down, right? Epigenetics, to where we naturally are hesitant when somebody's trying to sell us something, because we as a generation, as a human society, believe that sales is something that you do to someone versus for someone. And it's not the case. Sales is something that you do for people, because exactly what you said, you care about them and you care about the outcome that they're looking for. You said something really beautiful. You said, I will never try to pitch somebody or sell someone something if I didn't feel an integrity, if I didn't feel like this would help you, because that's what sales conversations are. 100%. I'm listening to you to see if there's a problem. I'm showing you why that problem is there. And because I've listened, because I've asked really good questions, I've now developed the trust and the authority to be like, hey, from everything you said, like, I definitely think that what we do would be able to help you. And now I'm just trying to solve a problem that I helped you find in the first place. So now we're both in integrity. You feel like I trust you, right? Or you feel like you can trust me. I feel like I can help you. And then we move forward in the sunset together, and you refer me to every single person that you know, because I helped solve your problem.
Exactly. But it can even go in like a different scenario, where if you had such a really strong influence on the person on the other side, they trusted you, and you're trying to sell them a program, let's say for them to become a sales rep. And if you're like, hey, you know what? I love that you want to do this, but I don't think sales is for you. What I think might be for you is actually you doing lead generation. If you have enough of a grasp on somebody, you'll now plant a seed in their head. They'll be like, oh, wait a second. Maybe I should look at lead generation. Then after that call, they'll start looking in lead generation, because you have that influence, and they're like, whoa, they didn't try to sell me something. They told me that something that would help me. So
you just opened Pandora's box, by the way, Maddie.
You can do it in like so many different scenarios where it's amazing. And like, not a lot of people harness that on a sales call. And that's one thing that like really not irks me, but it fires me up, because it's like, you want to help somebody and you want to build that trust, but most people don't know how to build that trust, because they have commission breath and they see them as a number, or see a way of benefiting themselves. Like, oh, if I close this deal, I get to buy a new bag. Or if I close this deal, I get to take myself out to dinner. It's like, no, you close this deal to help this person. And for every high-level business owner, I mean, you can probably like speak even from Jeremy's level, where like you are so detached from the sale, where it's just like those sales reps that are doing like 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 a month, they're the ones that actually care about the prospects. The people that are stuck making less than $10,000 a month, have that commission breath
Because they need it.
Yeah. But also, most importantly, those are the people that you don't trust in sales. And those are the people that also, like the sales reps themselves, they have that negative connotation towards sales because they are so attached to money, like the greed aspect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, greed and also fear.
Yes, that
right?
as well.
Because also I think that money is passed down generationally traumatically, especially after the Great Depression.
100%.
You know, so if we had great grandparents that went through that and our body felt like so nervous around money and like, oh my gosh, we have to save and oh no, like that was passed down epigenetically through each generation to where when you feel like there's something wrong or you feel like you can't be provided for, your body immediately goes into fight or flight, even if you never experienced something like the Great Depression. So it's really interesting to know that. When I was in sales, I felt like that at the beginning. You know, I was a single mom. I needed to put money on the table. I needed to put food on the table, not money. Money too would be great, but definitely need to put food on the table. And I remember being at the office 10, 11 o'clock at night with my daughter because I would pick her up from after school care and have her there and really be like, hey, like if I don't close the deal, we don't get to eat.
Yeah.
And feeling that pressure inside. So I want to ask you your tip because I have a tip that would help somebody when they feel like I need this sale, because it's really easy to be like act detached.
Yeah.
Dude, if your bank account
It's hard.
is empty, very hard for you to act detached. So what did you do? So I want to know your tip. Yeah, what's your tip first? Because I have a tip, but I want to hear yours.
Okay. So one of the big things that I am like a very firm believer on is you are who you are inside your sales call and who you are outside. Let me say that. You are the same person inside your sales call as you are outside.
Yeah.
And so this is where like it's not like a very forward answer because there's so much to it and there's so many levels to it. The first thing that I would say is start working on yourself personally before you really start to develop out professionally. So if you are having like a hard time with money or having a hard time connecting, it's so easy to say detach from everything. Like just do it. But a lot of it is also focusing on like the internal. Like start working on like, okay, am I living abundantly? Am I viewing this scenario the right way? Can I get around this scenario? And also like your attachment with money, because exactly what you say, it's like the same thing when you start talking about money. A lot of families are like, nope, don't talk about money.
Yeah. Childhood conditioning.
Exactly. So what I would say is like start doing like the personal development where you're really trying to understand like why you have a connection around this. Once you understand that, start working on mindset. So like live abundantly. So it's a lot easier said than done because it's something that I still work on. There's still moments where I want to close a deal and I'm like, I would love to have an extra $2,000 in my bank account right now.
Yeah.
Like I would love that. And especially if I haven't closed a deal for a while, sometimes it feels like, okay, I need to get this. But I have to remember at the end of the day of like, okay, where is this coming from? Is this stemming from fear? Is this stemming from like, do I not have money in the bank? Is it stemming from like, do I not believe in my skill? Is this stemming from something that's actually happening in my personal life? So my very broad answer, which is not super specific, it's like focus on internal development and do your best to start working on small little things in your life to detach from. And then if money's the biggest one that you have a hard time letting go, if you can focus on all the different things you can detach from, then you can ultimately focus on detaching from money at the end of the day. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. But once you do, like so many things open up because everything starts coming towards you.
I love your self-awareness.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really beautiful. You can tell that you've been working on yourself for a while. And I just wanted to honor and acknowledge that really fast because I know sometimes it's hard doing that work on yourself, especially when you don't want to.
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough, but it's needed, especially if you want to do like great things in sales and like help people. Because I remember there was this one thing that I heard one of my coaches saying like, if you are on the sales call with somebody, you can sense when somebody has been through it, but in a good way, and they've come out on the other side. You can sense that level of not just maturity, not just wisdom, but you can tell like this person purposely put themselves in pain. They can understand what I'm going through. It might not be the same exact scenario, but they've been through it. And so
Like a depth to them.
So you kind of need to do that to be able to like understand people. It's like a therapist. Like a therapist should probably figure out their problems so they can help out other people's problems. Same thing goes in
Otherwise
sales.
it's a walking contradiction.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
I love that scenario, or that analogy. I think that salespeople are walking practical psychologists, and we absolutely have to understand somebody, and we have to understand ourselves in a deeper way to be able to have the ability to understand somebody else in a deeper way.
Exactly.
You know, one thing that I've done personally whenever I was going through it, which I love that you say the internal work, because I talk about that all the time.
Yep.
We have to be able to heal through trauma that we've been through, even if it's not our fault, even if it's our parents' trauma, our grandparents' trauma that's passed down. If you don't have the willingness to look internally and heal, like, you're going to continuously get triggered, continuously be stressed, continuously have anxiety. Like, anxiety is not real. Anxiety is from trauma. And if we take responsibility for our stuff, even if it's not ours, even if it wasn't our fault, and heal through that, we'll be the most powerful versions of ourselves, and we'll also be a lot more less stressful, you know. One thing I used to do in a sales conversation is I would try to stop thinking about myself, because me thinking, oh my God, I need the sale, I need to close this deal, oh my gosh, like, I haven't closed all day, I need to figure this out, which, you know, I feel like a lot of sales reps have a worthiness complex, but that's a completely different conversation.
That's a whole
other battle to open. But if I can humanize the experience and try to, like, put myself in this person's shoes. So, like, example, like, I would think, I'm like, I bet this person has probably been through some horrific moments in their life. I wonder if this person has been in the most passionate, crazy amount of love that they've ever been through, and it was the most beautiful thing. I bet this person has lost somebody that meant so dearly to them. And I could put myself into that position. It would allow me to stop getting out of fear and start connecting and caring deeper. And it was a couple of just quick questions that I would just make up hypothetical scenarios about this person, and it allowed me to drop in and be present. So that's something that I've tried. It's really helped me.
It's helped. And the interesting thing that you say off of that is, the second you can shift from, like, okay, I'm doing this for me, to doing this for them, your line of questioning actually changes as well. Because a lot of times as sales reps, if we're so self-centered, we're asking questions in benefit of us.
Yes.
We're asking questions that will also benefit the sale. But if we point out other things that are actually in benefit of the other person, our line of questioning does change, and it starts focusing on them. And subconsciously, people can pick up on that. Because, like, are they asking this question to sell me? Like, is that what they're doing right now? But if we ask it in a way that resonates with them, and they start selling themselves more, that's also where you build trust, because you're not seen as a sales rep, you're seen as a person on the other side. And so, like, I mean, I love that you're, like, touching upon all of this, because sales is, like, so heavily like a personal development, also a professional one. And if you can't, like, harness that, I feel like that's where most sales reps get stuck. And they're like, I don't know how to break through this. But just pointing it out, it's like you opening that door and be like, well, let's try to see, like, what's actually going on. Are you seeing this scenario as for the other person or for you? And the second you can swap that, they're like, oh my gosh, it makes sense. Like, yes.
Well, new reps, I feel like, get hung up on the question thing, because they learn a new tool, and they learn a new objection handling way, or they learn a new reframe, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm going to try this out on this person to close them. And they're so excited.
They start looking for it.
And the thing is that when you're thinking like that, you sound so disingenuous. Sales is a very energetic thing. I'm transferring my energy to you, which means my energy has to be good. I have to be grounded. And if I'm all so excited about this new tool that I learned, and I do it on you with the intention of, like, haha, I'm going to learn this new thing, I'm so smart, they can feel it.
They'll close off. They'll be like, what are you doing to me? Like, stay away.
Yes, exactly. You talked about Pandora's box earlier, so I want to open it. Well, I talked about Pandora's box, but you definitely went there. You talked about something that's a really big hype in this industry right now, which is, oh my gosh, I'm going to teach you how to be a sales rep. And we talked about this last week too, because a concern that both of us, I think, have are that there's a lot of hype here. And cool. Sales might not, you said sales might not be for everyone. When I say that, it's not that it's not for everyone. There's just different types of sales roles, and some would be better for one personality versus a different one, right? Like if you had somebody that didn't have a lot of energy, was more chill, like I don't know if they'd be the best cold caller, like, you know, like, but maybe if they were in some different type of business development role, they would do pretty well. I don't know. So let's touch on that just a little bit, because I think that there is a lot of hype around, like, hey, like, you can be a sales rep and there's not a lot of clarity on what it actually takes, more or less of like high ticket sales. Hey, I'm going to teach you just how to be a closer when you don't have any experience on being a closer. And I can speak from this personally because I was a high ticket sales rep, but I had to start off as a SDR and prove myself. And I worked my ass off trying to learn how to do that. And I see a lot of these girls, will come to me, get on sales calls with my reps and are crying because they can't get a sales job. They're so upset and they don't understand what's wrong with them. And I don't think that's the case, but I want to get your insight on it.
Oh, this is something that I'm like so passionate about. I understand why. So high ticket sales over the last few years, it's become so popular because people are so good at marketing it.
Yes.
You can make $10,000 a month. You can live in Miami. You can drive the nicest of cars, buy the nicest of dinners. Is that true? 1,000%. 1,000%. But a lot of it is like, it's sold in a way saying that, and this is marketing, so there's nothing wrong with it. It's said in the way that it's so easily obtainable. And it's not.
Yeah.
It is not. Some people get it quicker. Like you do have those 1% that like will start sales. And then within the first 3 months, they're making $10,000 a month.
Yeah, they get it.
They get
quick.
They just get it. And they can move from like no sales experience into a closer's position. But to keep it real, like the majority of the population, they just can't. Sales is using a different portion of your brain where you now have to come up with different questions. You have to now focus on tonality, pacing, your body positioning. You have to focus on your energy, what's your mindset like. And so if we're jumping right from 0 sales experience all the way into closing, you're learning like 50 different skills at one point.
Yeah.
And you have no experience. And so is your likelihood of being able to close a deal high? Probably not. Can you probably get a few over the line? Yes. But also when you look at like a business perspective, which I feel like a lot of new reps don't understand, it is a huge risk to bring you on.
It's a liability.
It's a liability.
I'm like, why am I paying for ads to
Exactly.
put leads on your calendar where you've never closed before and I have to just hope and pray? Like that's not a good business decision.
Exactly. So like the offer that I'm on right now, he's spending $1,000 per day per closer. So if I can't get $1,000 over the line that day, then he's in the negative. So in his eyes, he would rather take somebody on that has way more experience and can get those deals closed. Same thing with organic. Like think about it. How much time does it take to create an organic video? Like if, let's say for you, I don't know how many hours a week you film, but you're probably filming at least 10 hours a week total. And then if you are editing your videos, which I don't know if you are.
No, thank God. Older version of myself.
Older version did.
Yeah.
And so like, but if you put in your editor's time, what you're paying the editor, your time that's putting into it, and then also the time of like nurturing the leads, getting them set, at the end of the day, social media becomes a full-time job. And if you have somebody that doesn't know how to close, again, it's wasting your time and your money now.
And it's
twofold.
hurting the prospect because if my intention is to help this prospect change their life or get over the line, right, to be able to help them, and then a closer can't get them over the line because their skill set's not high enough.
Yep.
Now I just hurt the prospect
And they now
I can't
have a
help
negative
them.
perception on you too
Exactly.
as well. And so a lot of times what I wish the high ticket sales was like the whole career field was more transparent on is starting with setting and like the foundations and the fundamentals. And so one, I think that will like burn a lot less people. Two, a lot of these people, like a lot of the programs, moms will spend the last $3,000 or like throw everything on the line to be able to learn the skill.
Yeah.
But they can't learn closing because they have so many things going on. They're taking kids at home, taking care of their kids at home. And most importantly, like they're now stressed and strapped on money. So it creates even like more problems in the scenario. So the one thing I think like the high ticket sales space needs to be more transparent on is starting off with the foundation, starting off with the fundamentals, and making setting cool.
Yeah.
Because like you made $15,000.
I made 15 grand a month
as a setter.
SDR. Yes.
Yeah. I was making 8 as a SDR.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is huge. And a lot of times as well, like it will allow you to develop out your skills. So long term, you have the skills to be able to move into closing, making it easier. 2, you'll develop out the skills at an entry level position. So you can actually build them out and learn maybe 10 skills compared to 50.
Yeah.
And most importantly, you can get the repetition. So by the time you do hop on a closing call, you're not afraid.
Yes.
You know the motions and you know how a sales call is supposed to feel.
You know how to talk to people.
And you know how to talk to people. Like when I first started, I took 3,000 setting calls within like a 3.5 month period. And by the time I hopped on a closing call, I closed the second deal I ever hopped on because I could do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. And it makes you not a lazy sales rep.
Exactly.
I hate lazy sales reps.
Because people go into closing, they're like, come to me deals. Like,
oh yeah,
come
they don't
on.
know how to hunt.
They don't know how to do it. And
Oh my
sales
guys.
is this, like it's there's so many skills that come into play. But
They lazy with follow up too is what I see.
Yeah, exactly.
And sales reps that are closers, even if your company is putting in leads on your calendar, like from ads,
Yep.
you should still know how to prospect. And you should
Exactly.
negotiate with your boss to be like, hey, if I can bring in my own prospect, can I get more percentage of commission? And then you're
Exactly.
making even more money. So like there's a way to do it, but if you've never been taught how to prospect, you've never been taught how to pick up the phone, like you're already at a disadvantage.
Exactly.
Hey, beautiful, just want to take one little second of your time to interrupt this podcast. First of all, I just want to honor you for showing up for yourself. Like, thank you so much for watching and for listening. Like, you have no idea how much it means to me. If you can just take just 1 second of your time, a little favor, and please hit the subscribe button. Please leave a review, comment on this, and share it to another woman that you know. We as women get to really stand and honor each other, and we do that by lighting fires at others' hearts. Sometimes a woman just needs to know that you believe in her and that she's capable, so please send this to her. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking that out of your time and doing that for us. You have no idea how much it helps and how much it helps us bring a really amazing guest on this show and get it out to more and more people. So thank you again. I will see you back in the show.
And I want to say very, very transparently, camera, that setting is cool. Okay. Closers, I can't tell you how many times when I was like posting SDR content or like setting content, closers would be like, you're just a setter. No, I'm getting leads on your calendar and I'm doing this.
Welcome.
You're
Fund
welcome.
your life.
I'm fixing this so you don't
like
have to
your
do follow-up.
daddy.
Yeah, I'm your daddy, okay? I'm giving you money. Respect. Like, if you look at it that way. But I think, again, too, like, there's so much can go into it. But setting is cool. I'm gonna say that to the camera. Because people put it down. And that's why they sell closing. Because closing is cool. But closing, it's like you can't go from zero. You can't run a marathon without walking your first mile first.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could keep going. But, like, it's just like frustrates me.
Yeah, I'm frustrated with you too. And I'm not to say there's anything bad with anybody in the industry that's promoting this. I'm not trying to knock anybody. That's definitely not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to bring some insight and some clarity because I've literally been on calls with a mom that had 3 kids bawling her eyes out because she just spent her last $3,000 on a training program and it gave her nothing and she wasn't able to get a job and she was screwed at that point.
Yeah.
And I felt for her so much. And I was just like wanting to reach through the freaking Zoom camera and hug this woman. And she just didn't know what she didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to bring some insight because I definitely think you absolutely can crush it in sales. I think you can be great as a closer. There are the few exceptions that actually can go into a closing role, but not everyone can. And they should know that there's some other options that you can use those skills with.
And it's so easy to get a job, too. Starting with the setting position.
Oh, yeah. People take a risk on a setter.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's great. Like, sure. Like, let me see what you can do. Prove it to me. Let's go.
Prove it to me, then you can move up into a closing position.
Exactly. You know, I had one girl. Where's Alexandra from? Sweden. So I have one of my setters. She's from Sweden, and she first started with me as a client. Her name's Alexandra. She's freaking awesome. She's also like a gymnast and does these crazy things. Anyways,
Alexandra.
yeah, she's freaking cool. And so Alexandra, she comes in and she is the only client that came in like blazing. She went through the training portal like 20 times at this point, you know, which absolutely repetition is a mother of skill. Like if you want to learn something and you don't know it, you have to go over. So she's going through it. And she's like, I'm trying to get a job. She's like applying for all these jobs. She hasn't been able to get a job. And she comes to me and she's like, please let me work for you. And I'm just like, okay, let me see what you can do, but you're going to have to earn it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, she outbound dialed somebody and closed them on a call, you know? And I'm like,
round of applause for Alexandra.
Let's go, Alexandra. But she has put in the work. She's put in the repetition and she's proved herself over and over and over. And at the same time, doing all the mindset work, doing the internal work. And she's making a completely different career for herself with her willingness to be humble, her willingness to like, hey, just like put me in any position. Like I'll prove to you what I can do. And like that speaks so much more volumes than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, and there's absolutely a way. It's just a willingness to try. And I think the humility is so important here.
Yep.
You know, numbers speak so much louder than words.
That is so true.
You know, like, hey, like, sure, like, just throw me in, coach. Like, let me show you what I can do.
And that's like one thing that you say is like huge. One of the things that I see you've probably seen it countless of times, that burns people in the butt is ego. Like their ego gets in the way. I am the best. I am top dog on this offer, which is amazing. Kudos to you. But also what I see getting in the way is, one, they're not developing other sales skills. Two, they're not willing to do the dirty work because they feel like they're the best. And three, they're going to be stuck at that level.
Yeah, they're capped in
They're
learning.
capped. And the best people that I see, like moving into a closing position, and if you have a killer offer and they're like, you know, I can't move you into a closing position, but you can take setter. People who have that ego, big, absolutely not. But they could be giving up so much to work with an amazing offer just because they're so stuck in their ways and be like, nah, I don't want to move into setting. Are you kidding me? I'm the best closer ever. It's like you can learn the skills, develop out, and just be a sponge, be open, and like listen. Like, I guess at the end of the day, it depends on like what you want to, but ego kills so much in the sales space, and especially like it can sometimes harm prospects because you do have that sense of ego of like, yeah, I'm top dog.
Yeah, and the entrepreneur space too.
Exactly.
If you had to say that you're the best, you're probably not the best, you know? And I will take full responsibility for this and for my own personal experience. When I first started in sales training, I had a mentor that told me, they're like, claim that you're number one so that you can become number one. And so I remember, like, I was 28 years old and I had everywhere, number one female sales trainer under 30. I had that everywhere, everywhere. And all my videos talked about it all the time because I really wanted to believe it so I could step into it. Like, that was the intention. But like me saying that, you know, was a self-proclamation.
Yeah.
And it was Jeremy. Jeremy, he gave me insight on this. You know, when we first met, it was like the second time he stalked me online. And when I saw him, and he was like, so the number one female sales trainer at 30, huh? Like, what's going to happen when you turn 30? And I'm like, I don't know, bro. Like, nice to meet you. And he told me, he's like, Kayla, he's like, you don't have to say that you're the best. Everyone will find out eventually.
Yeah.
Just by you doing you.
So
and he's
true.
taught me that so much. And, you know, Jeremy, you know, from what I've seen, he's the best in the world.
Yeah.
The best. And not because he thinks it. It's because every single day he's learning and growing and trying to becoming the best version of himself over and over and over. And it's inspired me so much because of the hunger to never stop learning. The ego thinks that you don't have to learn anymore. That's why your income is capped. That's why your learning is capped. When you have the intention of serving and you just want to become the best version of yourself, you don't talk about yourself and how great you are to anybody else. Other people talk about you.
Exactly.
And then you have to work on more internal stuff to be like, hey, like, I'm not going to claim this. Like, I'm still going to be in a place of having a servant's heart so that you don't take on that. So it's just a continuous evolution. Maddie, I think that you're great, you know, and I appreciate your humility and your ability to want to serve others. What keeps you hungry?
This is a deep question. So I think a lot of it is, I'm going to bring it back to childhood. So I feel like when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I used to chant around my living room and my bedroom, I'm not going to be ordinary, I'm going to be extraordinary. Ooh. And I said it so often. My mom's like, all right, this girl's annoying me so much. Like, what the heck? And so she was like, all right, well, let's just like kind of like help her out alongside the process. And she made me a poster.
Is there a reason why? I want to know first, because now I'm curious. Like, did somebody tell you to say that? Did you see that somewhere? You just like came up with that on your own?
I just came up with it.
I love it. Okay.
Like I was probably like, I don't know if I was like probably 5 to 8, like that range. And I was like, I'm not going to be ordinary, I'm going to be extraordinary. And so I feel like I always had that like undeniable like hunger to help people. And so that started when I was younger. And then as I started to get older, I really found passion in helping people and helping different subjects. And so it got to a point where before I started in sales, I was like on track to become a doctor. Like I don't know if you knew that.
Me too.
You were?
Yes.
Okay.
That's crazy. What was your pre-med?
So I was doing nursing and then a minor in pre-med.
Wow. Okay.
And so like I was starting out like that whole journey. And like when I was 14, I dedicated my life to medicine. Like I had my LNA license by 18 and I was on that track. Like I wanted to help people and I wanted to do it at like a very deep level where like after they come, like not work with me, but like after I see them as a patient, they leave healed. And so then as I started to like go through the college training, I'm like, I love medicine. I really do. But it feels like I'm putting a Band-Aid on this person. It's not like I'm actually helping them. So I took a step back and then I got into sales. And my first perception was how he had spoken. It was just like, ugh, sales? But then once I had that aspect of like, I can actually change this person, that fire, that hunger, that drive came back. And especially with being in this space, I see like, I want to fill the gaps, and I want to like change the world of sales and like help doing it alongside it, where sales reps are perceived different. We're actually helping people. And so does a lot of it come from internal? Probably, because I want to like help people and that helps fulfill me. But a lot of things that keeps me driven, it's like I have this saying, I'm a little nerdy, so I love Twilight. It's a plus chemo per PV, which means more than my own life. And I resonate with that very heavily because it is more than my own life. I want to make sure I'm as selfless as possible. I'm as selfish. No, is that the right wording?
Do you want to be selfish or selfish?
I want to be selfless.
Okay, you said selfless first. So you
okay.
Did it. Okay.
I just want to make sure. I want to be as selfless as possible.
Yeah.
And I want to like be able to take my time and help people. And so that's why I'm dedicating my life to sales and like making a change, because like there's so many things that can be made good about it and make it great. Yeah.
Yeah, selling is something that's really powerful because you really can get somebody to change the trajectory of their life.
The whole life.
You know, or a company, you change the trajectory of somebody's company and you're now able to scale a company because you're in some B2B role and you did something and you provided more jobs and taking care of more families. You're changing so many different aspects and avenues. And I think that we have to take that seriously. That's why the integrity part is so important, because I can ask you certain questions in order for you to doubt. Like I can make you doubt your own name if I asked you
100%.
enough questions. And we have to take that very seriously and have the responsibility to do this in a way, because it really does change someone's world.
Exactly.
And to where they never want to go back, never want to be the same. If you really know what you're doing, you can make somebody completely change who they are.
Can I give like, this is like on top of this, but this is going to be like a little bit more of like a deeper thing of like the dark art of sales, where I lived in Arizona and I was there over the winter, and I was not currently practicing. I was like building out, I was coaching people. And there was this one gentleman who knew sales very well, like very well, but he used it as the dark arts of sales. So over a period of time, he started pulling out more information of me and like would pull out my insecurities like very heavily, and he'd get it out of me. And over a period of time, I didn't really realize that what he was doing, because he was so like nonchalant about it. Then it came to a moment where he took everything that he gathered about me over the last few weeks, pulled it all together, and asked me a question that absolutely destroyed me. Like it destroyed me. It doubted all my ability in sales. It doubted all of my ability in like who I was as a person, and it made me feel like nothing. Like it really did.
What was the question?
It's a very deep question, because I was feeling, I don't know if I want to say it on this.
You don't have to.
I can tell you afterwards.
Okay.
But at the end, I like genuinely doubted like if I was good at sales. And the reason why I bring that up is because there is a moral and ethics to it. And a lot of people, they'll teach different like manipulation tactics and different tactics to get what you want.
It fucking sickens me. I hate it so much.
And can you use it in a positive sense? 1,000%. But a lot of people take it and they swap it towards the negative, and they harm people. And so like that's what I'm like really trying to change, because I've experienced it from the negative sales side.
Yeah.
And
but I think this also applies to almost like a dating life perspective as well, because I see men do this.
I can pull it out like so easily now, because I've it's sales.
yeah. But have you seen like, you know, you have to be careful as women, like predators will do this to women. Yeah. You know, to where they find all their issues, all their insecurities. What's her name? The black cat girl. What's her name? Anna what? Yeah, I love her. Oh, do I have my earpods out? Oh, I love that. Here, do you want these? Is that why, do I sound weird? That's awesome. That's similar. That's great. Cool. I've had my AirPods out the whole time. Love that for us. It's great. Self-awareness is beautiful. She's had a little sign, but I haven't looked once over there because I've been staring at your beautiful face, Maddie. So but she talks about this on her podcast about how this man that like had her come in for a job interview and use all this bad thing against her and like try to essay her. Yeah, and she was able to escape. But like we have to bring this awareness to people because they have no idea as to what is actually going on. One thing that I think is really beautiful that I learned that might help. Maddie, are you a blue frog?
I don't know what that is.
Are you a blue frog? Like a frog that's blue. Are you a blue frog?
No.
If I told you that you're a blue frog, does that mean you're a blue frog?
No.
What if I point at you and I'm like, you're a blue frog, you're a blue frog, are you a blue frog?
Nope.
What if you were like hopping on the floor and I painted you blue and you said ribbit? Would that make you a blue frog?
No.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because regardless of whoever says anything to you, if you know who you are,
Yeah.
you're never going to be a blue frog, regardless of how much they say it, regardless of how much they tell you or how much people point at you. If you're not a blue frog, you're not a blue frog, you know, and really just like sitting in and understanding like the amazing woman that you are and sitting in that and knowing like, I don't care who says whatever to me, that doesn't make me who I am.
Yep.
And I choose to be more. And no one that's ever doing better than you will ever talk down on you.
Hate comes from the bottom.
Yes, and broken people hurt people. And let's just take it, for example, this guy. For some man to have the audacity to utilize your pain against you
Yeah.
and ask you a question to make you feel uncomfortable says so much about his character, because men are supposed to protect and help you feel safe, and healthy masculinity, it's supposed to feel good.
Yeah.
So for him to say that says how broken he and sad he was as a man. So a broken, sad, pathetic man made you feel that way and used your pain against you.
Yep.
Like, we should just feel sorry for him. Poor guy.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Poor dude.
Poor dude.
Thank you for a great story, sir.
Thank you, my guy. But the reason why I bring that up too is like, it's very interesting because people can use their sales for the negative. And it's where it's like, where you make sure you really heavily teach the moral and ethics behind it. On like what's right, what's wrong, what can be seen as manipulative. But you can also see it on a sales call too, making sure that we're saying the best things to help the prospect the most and not tear them down in a negative way. Yeah.
How has learning to hold your power in sales changed the way that you show up in romantic relationships?
I feel like a lot of my natural energy isn't super feminine. I feel like I do show up a little bit more masculine. And one of the hard things that I'm trying to learn through is in sales, being a woman, I saw a B2B offer and I saw a $36,000 offer to like guys that are doing $100 million plus per year. And so when I show up on a sales call, I have to show up in a very particular way to be taken seriously and also be seen as like, okay, do I actually move forward with this first person? And so if I'm in that energy all day long, taking sales calls back to back to back, and I now switch over hanging out with my partner, a lot of times I do carry that masculine energy and that strong energy. But one of the beautiful things that I will say that I've seen alongside sales allows me to communicate so much better. So much better. Where if I'm having a hard time, I know how to communicate with it. And same thing if my partner's having a hard time. I know how to like walk through the scenario and have them actually talk through like, hey, this is what's going on. And using questions that will help benefit them to realize different scenarios. So
as a little girl, were you more feminine or more masculine?
I swapped back and forth. So I was like kind of tomboy. And then I went into like super feminine because I felt like that's what I needed to do. Growing up, like I was in puberty, I felt like I had to be like extra
Like
girly.
little girl, like 3 to 5.
I was girly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So typically your nature, right, is who you are, is super young.
Yeah.
Just so you know. So I really like that you said this, because I feel like a lot of women have a hard time with exactly what you said.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time, especially I've messed up a lot of my relationships in the past because I'm like, hustle, go all the time. And then I want to be around my relationship. And then I want to also be in that mode because I don't know how to turn it off and I don't know how to switch. I think that we get to learn how to be in our masculine and learn how to make people take us seriously 1000%, but also learn how to be back in your nature of who you were as a little kid and be able to be playful and fun. So how do you switch it is the question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I have the answer. I just learned this this past year. Sage Robbins, Tony Robbins' wife, talked a lot about it. And Allison Armstrong talks a lot about this as well, of having a ritual to get back into your feminine.
Okay.
So this could be when you come home from work, or like even if you're working from home, switching out of your clothes energetically can help change.
Makes sense.
Putting on music, lighting candles. I'm a big candle incense person, so that can help, like dimming the lights, and taking a few moments before you interact with your partner.
Makes sense.
So like to get back into your essence, like, you know, because you want to be in a place where you can relax. Like feminine energy allows to be present, and we can drop in and relax.
And masculine's like tight, very like
Structured, you know, but it's a protective energy. So it just depends on what you want. right? Because there's nothing wrong with being feminine or masculine. We all have both. So it's just like around your man, do you want him to be more feminine or do you want a masculine man?
Masculine.
Yes. So if we show up in masculinity with our partner, though, eventually they'll resent us.
Yeah.
Which is really hard. So it's having the ability to be self-aware enough and have the control to just do little small rituals with yourself and ground yourself so that when you see him, you can be playful. Like imagine like when you see him, instead of like saying whatever you want to say, we're just like, oh my gosh, hi. And we're a little bit more playful and jumpy. It allows them to be able to feed off of our feminine energy and relax and have peace in their life versus us coming in and asking questions, which is one thing that no one ever taught me about.
I didn't even know that because like I see so many like differentiators now where I'm like coming in hot. I'm like very like boom, 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 boom. Let's move.
Yes.
Because that's like the energy that I'm in.
Yes. And how asking questions like that too, we're like, well, how was your day? Well, what did you do? What calls were you on? Da, da, da. We go into that because that's what we're in all day long.
Yep.
And they can see it sometimes as like, oh my gosh, like what did I do wrong? Or
what's happening?
What's happening? Yeah, exactly. So I think that it's an art.
Yep.
And I'm still learning how to do it, I think, but as women, we get to pass on that knowledge, to other women to learn, because it can feel safe to be also in a feminine way, and it can feel natural if we wanted it to.
Yeah. That's huge that you brought that up because that will help out because
yeah, girl. Got you.
And it's hard to switch.
It is very hard to switch. Be helpful. Being intentional. Okay, so lastly, I just gave you a piece of advice. So how about you give a piece of advice to a woman in the audience? Maybe something that you would have told your younger self. What would you have told her to get her to this moment today?
Yeah. To not be so hard on yourself. I know that's like a very like common thing, but one of the things I had to tell myself, I'm going to suck. You know what? It's okay. Like, it's okay. And that's why I tell like a lot of my like students where they come up and they're like, I messed up here. I messed up there. I messed up here. I'm like, you're going to suck. You just learned. But it's okay. You just learned. You learned that skill, and to give yourself a timeline as well, where a lot of us, and like especially in America, we're very like quick paced. We want to move. And especially with us as women in a male dominated space, we want to keep up. They tell us, you brought it up last week. They want us to work 14 hours. And they're like, why aren't you working 16?
Yeah, hustle harder. Let's go.
Hustle harder. Come on. Like, what's going on? Come on, Kayla. Like,
don't complain. I don't want to hear you whining.
Yeah, you're on your period? Oh, sorry. So I think a lot of it is just saying, like, give yourself some space and, like, reward yourself for the things that you've done great on. Because, like, a lot of times, and I am not perfect at this one bit, where, like, I'll set goals. Like, hit my first, let's say, $2,000 month in sales, right? A lot of times I'm like, this is great. What's next? Because, like, I'm not where men want me to be, and I'm not where I want to be. And so I'll skip past it. Then I get to 10,000, I hit it, and that was a milestone I wanted to hit in the beginning. Then it's like, I don't feel grateful for it because I don't stop and smell the roses. So the main things I would say.
It lasts for what, 5 minutes?
Yeah. And I know you said give one piece of advice, but I think a lot of it is like, you're going to suck. It's okay. Give yourself time, most importantly, and let yourself experience the good things, because sales is amazing. And as you start to move up the ladder, you have these skills forever. And so once you hit it, bring yourself to dinner. Buy yourself a nice watch, or go spend time with your family. Yeah. And use it as a way of being like, I did this. This is amazing. And I got here. So don't be like, push it off, which I would typically do. Stop and smell the roses. And it's going to take time, and it's okay. Yeah.
Take time. Give yourself grace. Celebrate yourself.
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Bonus question. What makes life worth living?
Happiness, gratitude, being present. But most importantly, like for me, I become so fulfilled, like helping somebody, because I did it. Like if I have even the smallest little tidbit that'll help change the trajectory or help you out, that makes me feel so fulfilled. And it's the best feeling, especially when you have people, and you probably experience it too. Like you have students that come back, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it makes sense." Like if you didn't give me this advice, I wouldn't be able to close the deal. And now I have confidence, and now it's just exponential. So think what makes life worth living for me is helping other people, but also like being present and like being there in the moments, like very heavily in the moments.
Yeah, I believe that we all have like ability to spread a wildfire.
Yeah.
We're a fire that lights other people's fires, and it creates a blaze, and you can create a really amazing and beautiful blaze.
Yeah.
Or you can choose to be selfish and not light anyone's hearts. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having
Where can
me.
everyone find you? Give them your handle. We're gonna put it in the thing anyways, but if there's somewhere special you want somewhere to go, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, MaddieSells, and leave me a comment. Say like, hey, I came from Kayla's podcast.
Yay. Amazing.